overly eager and enthusiastic college student totally owns herself. That's right, owns herself during a debate with Michael Knowles about abortion. Guys, this is gonna be a fun one. I know I enjoyed it. Gets a little testy with her. You'll see what I mean. She does get a little triggered, but you know, you guys are probably gonna have no issues with that. I know I didn't. So we're gonna get right into it. But first, everybody, this is very important. You know what I'm gonna say, don't you? Please be sure you like our video, share it around, and subscribe to the Resist the Mainstream YouTube channel. That way we can keep bringing you these great videos, guys. So thank you so much, and we really appreciate it. As always, I'm your host, Darian, and let's get into the clip.
First, I want to start off by saying I disagree with everything you say. Black Lives Matter, stop Asian hate, and leave trans people alone. Here's my question. Why do you weaponize...
What did I say about the Asians? I don't think I said anything about Asians.
Listen to my question. Why do you weaponize religion to justify your subjective opinions?
How do you think I've done that?
You say that God says, oh, there's men, there's a woman, and just leave that as that. Like, you don't represent religion because we don't live in a country where you can be purely pure based on your religion. Like, you sin, everyone sins, if we can understand that. So trying to weaponize that against people and try to limit their rights because of what you think God said, God didn't speak to you.
God does speak to me, and he speaks to all of us, and we can read his word in the Bible, and we can go to church. No, that is true. So what you're objecting to is that I've quoted the Bible, and I've said right there in the early chapters of Genesis, in the beginning God made man, both male and female created he them. And you're saying, Michael, why would you weaponize religion that way? But what have I done? All I've done is just quoted the Bible, and I'd be happy to have a conversation about 2,000 years of church history on this subject, and I'm happy to have a conversation about even pre-biblical or extra-biblical sources on it, on the hylomorphic nature of the human being. I'm happy to do that. That's not a weapon against any people. That's a weapon against falsehood. And so the only way in which I would turn religion into a weapon is against the devil, and that's what we all have to do, because religion is a habit of virtue that renders to God what he deserves. That's the meaning of the word religion. And so I'm just reading the text, and I'm practicing the faith, and I'm telling you what the faith has said for 2,000 years. And you might reject it, but I think that it's true. I think religion is true. And you might think that it's false, and you might have a different set of beliefs. But one of us is, at the very most, one of us is going to be right. And so at the very least, one of us is going to be wrong. And I just happen to be correct about this.
No. You guys see the way she's doing that? Just absurd. As for her idea that Knowles or other pro-lifers are basing their subjective opinions and trying to force their religion and morality on other people, this is such a false and phony argument. Think about it this way. If you believe in having any kind of society with rule of law and a political system, and that's just about every human being on this planet, well, that means you believe a certain morality or worldview should be imposed on other people. At a basic level, if you oppose stealing, that means you're trying to impose a moral view on other people. It's the exact same thing with killing a baby. If you're against the killing of babies, you think people should not do that, guess what? You're imposing a moral view on other people. It really is that simple. You know, one of the most common reasons people will give to justify an abortion is that, well, you know, economic circumstances, if a baby's born poor, then we can just kill it, whatever. It's not a big deal. Living a life poor is not a life worth living anyways. And that's just such an evil and crazy argument. It really bothers me. And look, I sympathize with people struggling during this economy. I really do. I'll be honest, I struggle too. You know, things have just gone up so much in price. This inflation is out of control. And our government, I mean, we're at like what, over $34 trillion of debt and counting right now. And because of that, I actually have decided to invest in some precious metals, namely gold and silver. I'm lucky enough to have partnered with Goldco, a great company, which helps you provide a hedge against inflation. Guys, it's really important. I really recommend you do it too. I know I have started doing it, and I'm very grateful I did. And for those of you who might have a 401k or retirement, you can literally take that and use it to make tax-free purchases of gold, and highly recommend it.
You know, I can respect the confidence, but it's just purely delusion. Okay,
I don't think Christianity is delusional.
I respect religions. I respect people's rights. But trying to limit someone's rights by saying, well, I believe that God said this, so I'm going to block you from doing this, like abortion. People get raped, people get incest, and it's crazy traumatic situations. And it's very hard for a human to ask a human, oh, keep that baby because God said to. That is impossible.
Do you think it's hard do you think it's hard to ask someone, hey, don't murder an innocent person, even if you want to, even if that would be convenient? Because that's what we're saying about
because
abortion.
our fundamental beliefs are different. I don't think it's murder. I think it's that thing in the baby, not the baby, but the uterus.
You just said
that
it.
Is not,
I think you just admitted that I'm right. You that's called a Freudian slip, and I think you just proved the point.
Chill out. But the thing in the uterus is not a baby. That's what I was trying to say. It's just a clump of cells. It's a tumor. Okay.
It's a tumor.
And trying to be like, it's a baby. We just have fundamentally different belief systems, and I don't believe that. No, I don't think it's murder. It's not murder.
Right.
A question that I think this girl should be asked is, at what point does that non-baby fetus, or whatever you want to call it, clump of cells, at what point does it become a baby? Where in the pregnancy is that? Check this out. So here we are on the Mayo Clinic website. Obviously not a conservative institution by any means, right? This is a giant hospital system. So pregnancy by week, fetal development, 3rd trimester. Look at this. The baby's eyes are partially open. It kicks and stretches. The baby's hair grows. Here's a picture of that. Rapid weight gains, practicing breathing, detecting light, fingernails growing, skin smooth. You get the idea. This is all in the 3rd trimester. Okay, well, someone might say, well, I don't believe in abortion in the 3rd trimester, but you should totally allow it in the other trimesters. Okay, let's keep going. Also Mayo Clinic, fetal development in the 2nd trimester. Urine forms, baby sex is becoming apparent, its scalp pattern develops, its eyes move. These are all very human-like traits, I think one could fairly argue. Look at that. 14 weeks. That's not that far along. Totally looks like a human to me. Other things going on. Toenails develop. It starts hearing. Protective coating gets developed. The baby can suck their thumb. Their hair becomes visible. There's so many factors here going on. Now, okay, you say, well, that's great, but what about the 1st trimester? Okay, let's go to the 1st trimester, which is where the vast majority of abortions happen. By the way, a very common leftist talking point is to say, well, in the 1st trimester, that's when most abortions happen, so it's okay, and shut up and stop being upset about it. Okay, let's look at the 1st trimester. 1st trimester, fetal development. Well, you look at that. So this is Johns Hopkins Medicine, okay? Totally leftist institution, all right? So no one can sit here and say, oh, your source is bad or whatever. The most dramatic changes in development happen during the 1st trimester. During the 1st week, a fetus is called an embryo. It develops rapidly, becomes a fetus, blah, blah, blah. So let's check this out. Oh, look at that. We have a whole little chart here. So here's the 3rd trimester. You guys all saw that before. Here's the 2nd trimester. And here's the 1st. We look at that. This is a fetus at 12 weeks. It's hard to see because it's kind of small in the graphic, but it's literally got a head and hands and feet starting to form. Are you going to tell me that that's not a human? That's a clump of cells? That's a human, guys. That's a human.
Right, but the baby unlike a tumor, say, the baby in the womb, it has the DNA of an individual human being that's different from the DNA of the mother, and the baby in the womb has all the characteristics of human life, and the baby in the womb grows at a very early stage, grows to take on the form of an individual human being, and the baby in the womb, left unmurdered, will grow into a full adult-sized human being, just like you are. So that would seem to be a difference between the baby in the womb and the cancerous tumor. So you're saying, well, I just don't believe that, but you obviously do believe that because you just admitted it, because you called the baby a baby. You don't want to acknowledge that reality because it's inconvenient. And I'm not denying that there are inconveniences in the world, and there's suffering, and there are all sorts of difficult decisions that people have to make, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a right and a wrong answer, and it doesn't even mean that you don't know what it is, because you've admitted that you know what it is.
I like how she just throws her hands and walks off like, oh, I give up. Oh, that's too bad. So I really do hope Michael Knowles helped this girl learn a little bit. I don't know, her attitude wasn't the best, so who knows? I don't know. Maybe she'll look back one day and think, you know, that was a little silly what I said. And Michael Knowles is a pretty handsome, nice, and smart guy, so maybe I'll reconsider. I'm just making a joke, but no, seriously. I do hope she revisits it and thinks about it. With all that said, we hope you guys enjoyed the clip today. We're gonna wrap it up now. Please be sure to comment below, let us know what you liked, what you want to see next, and we'll see you guys all again soon. Thank you so much, and God bless.